Our final project is Power Plant, an adaptive reuse project transforming an abandoned Philadelphia power station into an urban farming innovation center.
Throughout the semester, we explored monumentality and its death, and from this derived our definition of new monumentality. We believe that new monumentality is no longer about the static ruin or entity commemorating an event or person, but is defined as celebrating architecture that evokes the ethos of a place. Ethos settles into an environment and rests within its bounds until it is stirred about, evoking a new interpretation of the origins. We believe that new monumentality is no longer about the static ruin or entity commemorating an event or person, but is defined as celebrating architecture that evokes the ethos of a place. We believe that new monumentality should continue to be expanded upon, being passed on to inspire other generations to come.
Philadelphia is coming into the 2020s as a city that on many issues is on the right path, but it is still being held back by some challenges from the previous decade. This has made it the poorest large city in America, lagging far behind its peer metros like New York City. Looking into some of the issues holding Philadelphia back, such as having more than a quarter of its residents living below the poverty line. A lack of job opportunities within the Philadelphia area has contributed to the city trailing behind its peer metros. Evolving with the technological era is also a prominent issue. And lastly, 1 in 5 Philadelphians suffer from food insecurity. These issues differ across the board, however, they are in more ways than not intertwined. Seeing the connection between these issues, we developed a reciprocal approach, one with the common ground, that could simultaneously address these differing issues.
In our search for a domino effect in which we start to address these issues, we found urban farming to be a key catalyst. In the article, Growing Urban Agriculture states that urban agriculture is one of the most economically efficient ways to revigorate the entire community. With it come several benefits such as improving access to healthy food, work training and job development, economic health, and revitalization to neighborhoods.
In our search for a suitable site to accommodate our proposed catalyst for change, we set out the following parameters. Firstly, it had to be within transit distance of the neighborhoods mostly affected by these social issues. Subsequently, it had to have the infrastructural qualities to facilitate our proposed program. Next, the site was to possess historical and architectural significance rooted in the development of the Philadelphia area, with an embedded ethos to exhibit our concept of new monumentality. The Pico Delaware station checked all these boxes. It is within 20 to 30 minutes of transit time from downtown using the SEPTA public transport system of Philadelphia. Also, the site conveniently sits along the bank of the Delaware River, which gives it infrastructural merit. Historically, the site houses the now abandoned Pico Delaware station, which was a monumental electric power plant built in 1917 and operational up until 2004. It was the main electric power plant in Philadelphia at the time and was instrumental in transitioning the Philadelphia area from gas-powered lighting to the then new technology of electricity with its Wire Your House campaign. Architecturally, it was the first to be constructed with reinforced concrete rather than steel. In its hearing to be designated as a National Historic Monument, it was said that it embodied a strong sense of community engagement and rich cultural history.
We represent the new monumentality in Pico through a virtual study. Our model sits in an old, abandoned power plant space. Just like Pico, it is abandoned and dead space. We found it to be the perfect contrast for a bright, colorful, and liberated future. This model shows the storyline of how we believe new monumentality will be embedded into this old, abandoned power plant. A volume crashes into an environment, creating openings that allow new light and shadows to frame an existing infrastructure, bringing new perspective. In the volumetric spaces are scenes that replicate a contrasted future for our power plant. What was once dark, gloomy, and uninspiring now exudes bright, colorful, yet rigid infrastructural setting.
The story of our gift starts with the history of our site and its function. It starts with the Wire Your House campaign, which was to encourage and educate people about the then new technology of electricity. Then it is followed by the monumental reach and impact of electricity on the city of Philadelphia. Next is the end of its lifespan as it has completed its job. It is then followed by modern monumentality and its dead and static nature. Then our proposal of new monumentality takes from the same historical remnants and breathes a new life and program into it, then showing its new monumental impact, going beyond the four walls of our building.
With the monumental impact occurring beyond the four walls of the building, it was clear that an output-focused approach was best to manifest our concept of new monumentality. Our program focuses on engaging with the residents of Philadelphia and evolves into a transformative impact. Individuals and large groups are drawn to learning and public engagement opportunities at our site. Users can focus on certain skills or technologies with the intention of implementing them once they leave the site. Urban farming kits will be transported to their communities containing elements specific to their needs and requests. The system is made possible by external connections. In order to preserve the public functions of our site, container scans, security, and modifications to shipping containers occur off-site. The site's location on the Delaware River allows for a seamless connection to local riverside sites for shipping and shipping container modification. These vital connections and transportation methods via drone, ship, and truck allow our site to have a monumental impact well beyond the site itself. We believe that this system will be a catalyst, impacting well beyond Philadelphia. The future of shipping will present additional manners to reach further and further beyond our site. This chain reaction will occur both conceptually and physically.
We decided to look deeper into what urban farming consists of and choose specific aspects that could be beneficial to Philadelphia. Hence, we identified the following specific urban farming program hubs: aquaponics, aeroponics, soil quality and composting, plant and seed development, and finally food application and nutrition. We developed dynamic program modules composed of fabrication, education, and testing modules dispersed among these specific hubs.
So first, we have the site, which is about 5.5 acres, and the existing Pico power plant already occupies about half of it. Then we established the grid from the existing building dimensions to facilitate our proposed additions and aesthetically establish the new era industrial architectural language. Next, we placed the program hub strategically around the existing building to actively engage it, and also outside it to exemplify our growth beyond it as well. We also elevated the hubs within the existing building to allow for an open ground floor plan. Then we reoriented the entrance to the site so we could establish an unobstructed pathway between the outdoor and indoor atriums. Then we arranged the modules within each hub. With our output approach, we developed a container transport route which circulates through the fabrication modules of each hub. Supplementally, a crane system was designed to help facilitate the movement and storage of these repurposed shipping containers on the site. Then, a conveyor belt route was designed between different testing modules of each hub to accommodate cross-pollination of ideas and equipment from one hub to another. Then, our output and distribution routes pass through the drum depot area, which is the final stop for the equipment and products to be shipped out to the community. Lastly, a pathway is drawn from the adjacent Penn Treaty Park and runs along our entire site. Also, our strategically arranged modules allow for a series of terraced spaces which would host a series of social and recreational programs within the whole site.
We developed a step pier area on our site adjacent to the park and leading to the river to do our part to contribute to the ongoing efforts to revitalize the waterfront. It also gives another avenue in which to attract people to our site, which is pivotal for our program.
Transitioning from the various activities outside, the open interior of the ground floor allows for this public engagement to continue and be enhanced within the building's volume. Nearly all of the first floor serves as public engagement and atrium spaces. Each hub touches down on the ground floor with a learning or testing space, as well as vertical circulation, serving as a tectonic invitation to the public to explore the hubs above. This concept of engaging the public with urban farming innovations is brought to life on the ground level. This drawing shows how users in the atrium's lower common space can observe elements such as aquaponic tanks, robotic arms, and hydroponic towers. The design of the ground floor exemplifies the intersection of the public with the building's innovative program.
When entering the space, you are immediately engaged with the liveliness that the building entails. Within the space, shipping containers glide along their routes, glazing reveals learning and testing programs, and conveyor belts transport items throughout the site. The space showcases innovations that are being worked on in separate testing programs while attracting the public to interact and learn more. A market space is held in the near back, supplying food to the public that has been grown, and the open light well attracts the user to look above the monumental building that expands up from the existing space.
This longitudinal section shows the unobstructed flow from the outdoor atrium to indoors, establishing an outdoor-indoor connection which helps to elevate the essence and aura of a space. At the end of this section is the aquaponics hub, showcasing the hydroponic towers and the racks and shelves of produce being grown within the modules.
This axon shows the complex circulation that happens throughout the building. We designed stairwells and walkways for each hub for a continuous connection. The open, continuous path leads the public to learning spaces which they can only enter, keeping the testing centers and fabrication spaces more secure for workers. Each hub has its own internal circulation connection, helping the public move through the spaces, still being exposed to the innovations that are being made in the testing and fabrication centers. The circulation keeps the user engaged and curious to wonder what's around the corner.
Slicing through the building reveals the contents of the hubs as well as the connections between each hub. Along with the user circulation, conveyor belts and the shipping container route link each of the various spaces. At this level, the hub typology truly comes to life, showing how ideas, instruments, and production can be shared within each hub, then with the adjacent hubs. Within this hub, you can see how plant testing, product fabrication, and public classes can all be taught in adjacent spaces. Meanwhile, the shipping containers pass through this space, adding specific elements from the hub to the appropriate container. Focusing on the aquaponics hub, you can see how it operates within the hub as well as the many outward connections via conveyor belts, the shipping route, and user circulation.
Through firsthand experience, visitors can really be immersed in the urban farming simulator. The public can learn from professionals about new developing technologies in urban farming. These spaces are to show the public the benefits of urban farming and how they themselves can use it in their own life. Classes and tours can be held here, giving a deeper understanding of how urban farming works.
This plan reveals how these learning spaces can fit together within the architectural context. Each program supports and enhances the nearby spaces, creating dynamic and practical hub environments. Here you can see how the aeroponics hub exemplifies these qualities. Lab tables and aeroponic towers populate this space, providing spaces to educate the public on how to implement their own aeroponic systems. The seed quality and composting hub is the only one that lands outside of the building footprint. It takes advantage of the natural sun and ventilation to optimize its function. The expansive grid framework ties this hub to the main building.
This transverse section shows the unobstructed first floor plan and cuts through the nutrition hub and the drone depot, showcasing packages being moved to the drone stations in the smokestacks, ready to be shipped out to the communities.
After learning and practicing how to use this urban farming equipment, the user can select their ideal equipment and tools to be transported to their neighborhoods via drones, delivery, and urban farming retrofitted shipping containers. Through this, the benefits and applications of high-tech farming grows well beyond our space. Through this project, we have used urban farming innovations to stir about the ethos of Philadelphia's Pico Power Station, defining a new monumentality that reaches far beyond its source.